This is Villa View. Coming up, the latest on the Big X saga. Hello and welcome to Villa View. I'm joined in our Fort Dunlop studio by our Aston Villa correspondent Matt Kendrick. Matt, nice quiet week for you this week. What's the current situation, mate?
Yeah, it has been a little bit hectic, a little bit hectic, if you forgive that terrible pun. It's been a strange old one, isn't it? Hasn't it? I've never known a week like it in second city football. From following it growing up as a fan and now being obviously a little bit closer to it as a reporter on the Mail.
Yeah.
We wrote the story on Sunday morning in the Sunday Mercury saying that McLeish was a target for Villa, and since then it's just snowballed. It's snowballed out of control really with McLeish resigning on Sunday afternoon, and then I think a lot of Villa fans didn't want to believe it. I will be honest, there's no point pretending the amount of opposition that there's been to this suggestion of McLeish taking over. It's been like nothing I've ever known. There's been such a wealth of feeling against it. But obviously Villa put their statement out last night saying that McLeish was somebody they want to speak to. It's my understanding that they're going to speak to him, or they're speaking to him this afternoon. And I think Villa fans are going to have to get used to the idea that Randy Lerner has decided to appoint Alex McLeish. I think that could be made clear within the next day.
Do you think at this stage, I mean, what seems unclear to me, I presume they are just speaking to McLeish. Is there anybody else that they are talking to, do you think, or is it just the one target and that's it at the moment?
I think McLeish is their man now.
Yeah.
Obviously Martinez at Wigan was a chief target, and they came close to getting him, and he displayed a rare commodity and remained loyal to Wigan, and I don't think Villa anticipated that would be the case. They've now turned their attentions to McLeish, and I think it's the kind of thing that it was going to create such a storm that unless they were confident that they could get this man, I don't think they would have ventured down that route.
No. You broke the big news, as you mentioned, in the Sunday Mercury at the weekend. I mean, has the level of opposition from the fans and the reaction surprised you, or?
Not really. It's an interesting one, really, isn't it? Because you wonder, in all this, who's got the bragging rights, really? Do Villa get to brag because they've poached Birmingham's Carling Cup winning manager, or do Blues fans get to brag because kind of Villa have taken the bloke who got them relegated out the Premier League? It's just such a kind of sensitive subject when you cross one side of the city to the other, and I think it's so brave. It's so brave of the Villa board, and it's so brave of McLeish to try and make this happen, because they're already. I mean, they won't pretend this fact. I'm sure they already know that they're kind of walking into a real kind of a real storm.
Do you think they've underestimated it at all? Just how? I mean, we've had scenes this morning of people vandalising the training ground, and for your own fans to vandalise the training ground. I mean, do you think they've underestimated just how people feel about it? Or?
I don't see how you can underestimate it, because you know it's going to cause a storm. It's not been done before. I think for Villa fans, I think it's on several levels. Obviously, McLeish would be coming with Blues baggage. He's been the manager at St Andrews for 3.5 years, so that's you've got a massive stigma attached to him on that thing alone. Then there's the fact that he's a manager who's been relegated out the Premier League twice with Birmingham, so Villa fans would probably think they could get somebody with a greater CV. And then these Villa fans who have seen people like Ancelotti linked with the job, and I know Villa did make a play to try and get Ancelotti, and you see names like that, you see the Roy Cards, you see the David Moyes, and people are disappointed that he's not one of those.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be so interesting to see how this unfolds over the kind of coming weeks and months.
How do you think McLeish's style of football would suit Villa?
It's an interesting one. I mean, there's been suggestions that McLeish, that style of football was kind of forced upon him in a way because of the kind of the finances at his disposal. Villa would love an attacking kind of team full of flair, but I think the first thing that Villa would love is a winning team. They need. I mean, I got on fantastically well with Gerard Houllier, and I think given a bit more time, he may have turned things around. But you can't escape the fact that Julian's team conceded too many goals and lacked discipline in the dressing room. Now, you'd think that those are two factors that Alex McLeish has going for him: the fact that he can control kind of difficult characters in dressing rooms, and that he can build his team, he can organise teams and make them defensively sound. The other thing I'd say about McLeish is that if any character can overcome this, you know what I mean, then Alex McLeish can do it. He's such a strong-willed man. And I think he's such a diplomatic man as well. He'll know that he's got to tread very carefully going into this, because, as I wrote the other day, he could potentially be two defeats away from a fans' revolt throughout.
He's got to get results quickly, hasn't he?
He has. But I think McLeish, he wouldn't have entered into this lightly. So it's just going to be a case of wait and see, isn't it? But it's certainly caused a fair old ripple.
Do you think in time the fans will give him a fair crack at the whip, though?
I think it depends on results, doesn't it? You just
Straight
said it a moment ago. I think if he wins the first 5 games, then all those fans who have threatened to stay away or not renew season tickets suddenly think, well, I'm bored of shopping around the ball ring on a Saturday afternoon. I want to go and see a winning football team. And I think it comes back to the fact that no one individual, be it a player, a director, a chairman, a fan, nobody's bigger than the football club. And if you love Aston Villa Football Club, then you'll come and watch them regardless.
Okay, Matt, well, thanks ever so much for joining us. Thanks for joining us on Villa View. There's plenty of life left in this story, so make sure you keep visiting our website for the latest updates. And you can also follow Matt Kendrick on Twitter, round-the-clock updates on what's a fascinating story for the city.